Well, welcome everyone. Just here doing a review basically of what I was doing earlier, the log files. Now, I've got the situation where, yeah, I'm not happy and I have been excluding these sections here, but that may not be a valid thing to be doing. So I just wanted to confirm, I haven't really spent the time looking at the logs in this area. Or viewing them. So this particular file, and this would be great if it gave you a nice list of the files that are included, but yeah, there's another quirk. Anyway, so I've loaded up 65, which was this file, and I wanted to see, well actually I came in here and I was looking at IAP first, and I wanted to have a look at these. So the first thing I did was come in and have a look at everything where it was above, IAP was above 65. So, and we've got, yeah, that's filtered down because I've got an RPM filter on. We had values going up to 100, which was basically atmospheric pressure, and that was from before it was even started. But at the moment, yeah, I've got everything on because I already filtered it down, and I found a data point. And I've come to that data point in here in the log viewer, and the first thing that struck me was this is the auto shift or the quick shifter. So accelerating up first gear, just kick it to second, and then this I'm pretty sure would be me just cruising to the intersection and letting an engine brake down to stopping at the intersection. So this is sort of the low speed stuff I've been excluding. There's another quick shift. So where was I? I was there, 313. And I thought, yeah, definitely this stuff needs to be taken out. So anything where the ignition is below 0, and I'm not 100% sure if this is actually relating to top dead center. It could be. So yeah, I'll just wait and see on that. But yeah, anything I think where it's, or I could even potentially do it. Yeah, I know we've got clutch in filter, but with the quick shifter, they're probably not counting that in their filters. So what I might do is look for anything where, I'll write this down because I'm going to have to. Okay, so clutch not in, and we have the gear transition. Let's actually have a look. 312, 523. 312, 523. And we went from gear 1 to 2. Yeah, so if we said gear 1 to 2, clutch, actually, I haven't fully worked out clutch yet. Because it's sort of, it counts neutral as being clutch in, which is, but I do have, whether or not there's even any throttle. Yeah, so maybe I take that and I look at, where was ignition? And I need to move ignition across. Boom. So it looks like we're talking at least 5 cells before, and probably 10 cells or whatever, 13 down there, 13 cells after that transition point. So yeah, I'll have to filter that out. I'll have to work out exactly what the clutch one is. Gear transition, low ignition. So it'd be good to chop out these ones. Sorry, these ones here even, just because it's, yeah, you can see it's still working out where it's at after the quick shift. Now we did have another one just a bit after. Boom, here's another one. So where was the gear transition? From 2 to 3. So I'll highlight that. And 1, 2, 3. Yep, so that would hold true. 1, 2, let's go down to 13. And that would hold true. So there's another filter I'll do. So what I want to do is be able to get to the point, although it wouldn't have counted these. Oh no, it would have counted these. It wouldn't have counted the gear 2 ones, but it would have counted these. So if I can get rid of some things like this, I can probably leave in some of this lower gear stuff, and that would be useful for around town riding, where you are in the lower gears. So it would allow me to sort of allow them through in my filtering. And yeah, so if I can cut out that, then I can suddenly include this data here, and potentially even come in to include this data here in gear 1. So that'd be cool. But my IAP value, or my, very high IAP deceleration stuff, yeah, I'm in third. Let's see. The ignition's quite high, and yeah, the AFR genuinely does go up a fair bit. Oh, this was interesting. So this one here, injector duration. Don't know how. I don't like 4.5 as a measure. I'm pretty sure there's a bit more precision in the you know in the bloody fuel injection system. There's probably a fuel pressure as well, so maybe it's a combination of pressure plus injector duration. There's also injector timing, so like not how long but when, and we haven't seen that in the file. But if I was to take this file, this spot here, so let's see, we're 29, so we're up at this point, and then minus 9, 29, minus 9, 6,000 RPM, and the fuel is still full. So we've got no ignition. See, if I move the cursor, we'll lose the spot. But you can see on the bottom panel, ignition is at 9. When we look at the top panel, injector duration's at 4.5. So it cut the ignition, it didn't cut the fuel. And that is that's going to result in this bump here in AFR. Have I got this right? No, it's going to result in this dip. So because we should see, actually it's interesting, you can see here a little tick in the wheel speed as the quick shifter changes, and the force of it on the back wheel. So it actually increases the rear wheel speed by 69, so 9 kilometers an hour extra over the front wheel speed. Or is that, no, the front's less because the overall vehicle speed, this one here, pretty much matched the rear wheel. Then again, it could just be how it counts how it balances the two. So it might have just said, well, the vehicle speed matches the rear wheel speed in case you're riding along on one wheel. Not really. Now, where's that dip? And this is why I've been cutting a lot of the videos that I record, because I sit here and waffle on about, sort of me thinking about what's going on. So air fuel ratio is 13 now, 15. So this is at its richest. So now we've got the effect of fuel going in and no ignition. So, but then that's not really a huge amount. So it's not really a very significant thing, unless this is it here. This is the first one, and what were they suggesting the delay was? 250 milliseconds. So if we take when I say so if we come to settings and exhaust gas offset, so they're talking max time. I've set 250 milliseconds. Okay, that's from when it comes out to gets down to the O2 sensor. So if I come back to this and we say we've got here, and yeah, this is our low point. So 12.7, very, very rich. And over here we've got another one. Yeah, I'd say this is our delay here. So if we go here, we say we're at 13 clean, and then we come back to here and we're at 12. I'd say we're not 250 milliseconds, I'd say we're 500 milliseconds out. That's a bit tricky, because if I was to go and cut out this section here, filtering, it would actually leave in the low point, this rich point, all right, and it would cut out the point that was actually natural, because the AFR for here actually comes from over here. So we can see there's a delay here, so we've got that, and we've got the low point a bit later. So let's see if this matches up. So if we come back, where would we be? Probably, yeah, try not to do maths. 0.1355 minus 635. So we're looking here at this 135, and we want to get to 635. Yeah, so that is coming at this sort of peak. Well, it's as the fuel is going up here, and then it flattens, and so we've got this crest, this rise, we've got the equivalent fall here, all right, and then we've got the flattening out here, and then we've got the trough, and then this is probably the engine trying to sort itself out, or it could even be because the revs have gone up, so it's moved it into another cell. And we've also got TPS changing, and then yeah, so it's sort of adjusting and leveling out, and then we go and do a quick shift, and the effect of the quick shift is not felt until it ends up over in this region here. So this filtering is going to be quite complex, and I might have to, one problem will be that the autotune is expecting to do that deviation, so it's expecting to implement this delay, which I've now determined is actually incorrect. It is more a half a second rather than 250 milliseconds. I mean, we can see it. So, does that hold true here? We've got 817, so that should be about 317, and we're here, and yeah, it's the end of the chop for the ignition before it goes quite rich. So if anything, it might be a bit over. It might be closer to 600 milliseconds, but I think 500 is probably a safer bet. So that could be messing things up. So although it is trying to calculate from these settings, but yeah, maximum time offset, that could be a very, very wrong value. So I'm going to put that in. Now I'm not sure. I don't know why they measure this in RPM. Even they don't explain it. So there's sort of a, if you Google it, you get some real garbage. Anyway, so I'm going to change that. I wonder if that makes a difference. No, not really. Maybe a cell or two. Coming back to here, yeah, working out how to filter this out is going to be challenging because it's not so much these records that I want to filter out, it's these as well. Or do I literally just give up and take both out? You know, do I take out these ones here and also delete the associated air fuel ratio drop ones that are, you know, a few records later? So where are they? We've already identified that we have our chop here. Okay, but we need our AFR ones. I'm going to have to move that column across, given it's now become important. So here we have our AFR, and intriguingly, it's in the 12s. Was it in the 12s before? And then, so what have we got? Interesting. Oh no, 228.10. Yeah, so we want, why do I do maths like this? 700. So we're talking here. And here's our extremely rich dip. So we were actually saying 6 is probably 600 milliseconds. So there's our rich part. So we'd need to take these out as well. So these records would need to be filtered out as well, just to take out the quick shifter. Intriguing. Actually, probably expand it to these two. So what I probably should just do is if I detect a quick shifter transition, take out 5 records before and almost just a huge chunk, like take out all these ones in between. I mean, it is sort of, it's right in the middle of a gear shift. I might be mucking around with the clutch. I could be doing things with the throttle easing off because I'm going to brake, or, you know, well, who knows. But yeah, well, yeah, if I'm accelerating really, really hard, it is kind of one of the points that I want, because that's when I'm trying to get power. So I'd need to be quite selective in what I cut out and when. Now, what have we got on our filters? So if I come back here, look at the settings, what I could do is filter out AFR values lower than 10. So what I could potentially do is, I know that these points here, I know where they are in the file. Where am I? Yeah. So if I can work out where these are and just set in a fixed time, so I'll check a few more data points, but if I can say, okay, I've done a gear shift, a quick shifter transition. So quick shifter transition is TPS hasn't changed, clutch isn't in. So let's just highlight them. So I've got that. Clutch isn't in, gear shift has happened. So clutch, TPS hasn't been changed. And so this here I recognize as quick shift. Okay. And what I can do. Does a quick shift cut the electronic throttle valve? Not really, just the ignition. There you go. So, I suppose the ignition's quicker. Yeah, later, air fuel ratio, this is what we're caring about. Air fuel ratio. Now if I was to go and modify these values just down to 5 or even 0, then it would exclude them from the log. That would actually be pretty good. So what's the IAP on them? Where are they going to show up? They're going to show up in the TPS map. So we're talking 24 TPS. They're going to show up here. There we go. So these are the ones we want to get rid of because they're showing it as rich. What are we looking at here? Target AFR. Yeah, so it's showing it as rich. But the reason it's rich is because we've got these bloody potentially. Where's our revs? So we're looking at rich here, revs at 5. Okay, let's come back. Maybe it did filter them out. No, revs at 5. So we're here. Although this would have been filtered out because it'd be low gear. But it could, yeah, maybe we're talking about some of these. It's 12.6. So it'd be good to be able to get the first gear stuff back in. So let's have a look over here. This is technically third gear. So this would be included. We've got 4696 on the revs. And we've got 12.5. So 4696 and we've got 12.5. Yeah. The timing doesn't match because these are all 17 seconds. So they got filtered out somehow. Another thing that's driving me batty is after daylight savings, everything went haywire. This is 409. It's not where I am. So it looks like the data might have got filtered out anyway. Well, actually, let's go and have a look at these. So, just quick look back. Deceleration filter, no. Filter by power mode, no. Filter out, clutch in, gear in neutral. Data before coolant. Actually, what's my coolant temperature? Because this would have been me just taking off. Engine temp. It got filtered out because of that. Okay. But still, that stands. So even though this got excluded because of the temperature, I bet you that pattern still exists elsewhere. So if let's go and take out, I know it's easier to just do, bugger it, greater than 70. Okay, so we want a ignition. Let's go with that. Let's find me a spot. So we have an ignition -5. We've got AFR, speedo. Where's my speedo? Might be my good one to go with. Actually, let's go with this one. Or have we got an even better one? This one, gear 2, gear 3. This is gear 3. Let's go with this one. So 1140. Let's get the ignition back to everything. Let's come to, let's see, auto tune. Let's come to the log viewer, 1140. 1140. Quick shift, quick shift, quick shift. We are in 4th. And where are our dips? Not really there, are they? Well, they are. How much did we say they were? This is 12.9 at 6. So this one should be at 0. No, that's like a whole second before that took effect. So we're here. It's interesting to see the shapes different. And let's see. Yeah. So that went to, the speed's a bit higher too, which you think might clear it out earlier. But maybe that's it. It just takes a while for it to balance. Then again, you know, because I am using the adapter, it does impact how the gases get in there. So it might not be optimum rather than actually having the wideband sensor directly into the exhaust and the main flow. So yeah, these are things I sort of got to acknowledge with how I'm set up. Also too, you can see the airflow manifold pressure, or IAP, is in a bit of a state, so that's probably balancing things out, you know. So low pressure, yeah, it's managed to suck in a bit more air at the same time. Actually, there's probably a good consideration. It's like, well, it doesn't close the electronic throttle valve. So even though it's chopped the ignition and it's just dumped a whole heap of unburnt fuel, there's a corresponding amount of air in there and no ignition. So yeah, that this value in this period afterwards is a real mess. But at the same time too, that data's potentially got some value. So yeah, I'm gonna have to be cautious about how I filter this. Oh Jesus, been recording for nearly half an hour now, and I don't think there's much I'll be able to chop out of this. But yeah, for the moment, I'll call it done, and I'll have a big think about how I'm going to filter this out, because yeah, ultimately this is a special situation. The ignition's been cut. The air fuel ratio is going to be impacted from it because of that, because, well, there is no cut in the fuel, there's no cut in the air, there's only cut in the ignition. And how does the sensor respond to it? Well, it's just going to see it as a whole heap of fuel and air, and no, you know, a lot of O2 is still going to be in there. So yeah, definitely going to have to do something with this, but figuring out how is going to be the tricky bit. But thanks for being here, and yeah, maybe I'll have a solution for this in the next video.